Welcome to Hope Natural Health, the podcast inspiring you to be your best version. Join me, your host, Dr. Erin, naturopathic doctor, dog mom, cancer survivor, and girl boss weekly as we discuss all things health, hormones, and happiness with a little side of this thing called life. Welcome back to the podcast. This week's episode, we are going to be talking about the foundations of health. Because, as I mentioned in the previous episode, if we don't have that healthy foundation, we're really going to have trouble getting to be our best version. So think about a house. If we don't have the concrete flooring, we need that first before we can put the frame up and the roof, etc. So if you don't have that bottom layer, which we'll talk about today as far as 5 healthy habits that we need to have in our life, we're really going to struggle to get to be our best version. So with patients that come into my office, this is the first thing I focus on is are all of these things in check first? First, we want to make sure that we're drinking plenty of water. And if you listened to the first episode, you heard my journey through cancer diagnosis and how I became a naturopathic doctor. But one of the funny things is I used to hate water. Like legit didn't drink it because I thought it was boring. And now I can't go anywhere without my water bottle. Like it's right here. And it's like my little safety blanket. I bring it everywhere with me because water is so important. Did you know that 80% of your brain is made up of water? I have had multiple people in the office in the last month that I ask them, how many ounces of water do you average per day? And they'll say, oh, I drink so much water. And I'm like, okay, define so much. And most times it's, oh, I drink about 2 of those Costco water bottles. Okay, that's not so much water, especially here in Arizona. That's only about 32 ounces of water. I doubt you weigh about 60 pounds. The good rule of thumb with water and hydration is at least half your body weight in ounces. And this is water. This doesn't count as cocktails, ice in the drinks, iced tea, soda. This is plain water. Sparkling water is okay in moderation, but I highly recommend sticking with plain water. Now, people ask me all the time, well, Dr. Erin, I hate water. Like it's so boring. It doesn't taste like anything. You can make water fun. You can add fruit to it. You can add berries to it. You can add vegetables to it. You can add whatever you want to it. There's even some healthy sweeteners that you can put in there as far as making it enlightening the taste. You can do sparkling water, like I said, in moderation. We don't want too much water because of the carbonation. It can, cause some gut things to happen. So I wouldn't count on sparkling water every single day. But you can make water fun. And I recommend a couple apps. Actually, I only really know one, but there's multiple that you can find that will remind you to drink water. And one of them is called Plant Nanny. And this app has the ability for you to water your own plant. And if you don't water your plant, it's going to die. So think of that as you're nourishing your body with water. You need water to keep yourself alive, just like you need the plant. So this is kind of fun app to have, especially if you have kids around, because kids need to drink water too. They need to stay away from juices and milks and make sure that they're getting plenty of water, just like us. So water is a huge thing. If we are not hydrated, our cells are kind of like styrofoam. They're not going to be able to absorb our nutrients as well. Like I mentioned, our brain is made up of 80% water. It's helpful for detox, like our routes of excretion are sweat, pee, and poop. So it's going to help with elimination through the urine of toxins, which we're surrounded by. And it's helpful for energy. It's helpful for your skin. It's helpful for your digestion. Like the list goes on about how important water is. So I challenge you today to drink water, get in at least half your body weight in ounces, and do that for 2 weeks and see how you feel. I guarantee you're going to feel better. The second one would be movement. We are in a society where we're lazy. Like, let's just admit it. We're lazy. We don't want to do any movement. And especially here in Arizona, most people don't really become super active here in the summer. And now we're in upwards of a low 100s right now. And it becomes a little bit of a struggle to get outside and do that movement. However, movement is so important, and you don't have to do a whole lot. I recommend 30 minutes of exercise at least 3 to 4 times a week, if not more. But start there, and you have to start somewhere. So if you start with 10 minutes, that's more than what you did yesterday. And you can do anything from walking to stretching to yoga to running to hiking, you name it. Like there's so many different forms of exercise. Find something that works for you. And during the last year of the pandemic, there were tons of people that moved to the online space. So you can Google workouts. You could find some on YouTube. You can find some on Pinterest. Like your resources are unlimited as far as movement goes. But movement, again, is going to be helpful for detox. It's going to be helpful for our mental clarity. The best thing that I recommend to patients is go outdoors and walk. Get outdoors during your lunch break. Go take the dogs for a walk in the morning. Take them for a walk in the evening. If you do during the daylight, you're getting that nice sun or vitamin D from the sun, and it's going to stimulate your brain. It's going to stimulate your mood. It's just going to make you happier overall. It's actually going to help your adrenals. We'll have more episodes all about stress and the effects of the adrenal glands on our hormones, but movement is essential in your overall health, and you don't have to do that much. You don't have to be a crazy athlete or train for a marathon. Like just get up and move the body, and it could be as simple as taking the dogs for a walk. So that's another one of your challenges this week is to start. You have to just start. And healthy habits, they don't take too long to become part of your routine. And that's what I teach is like try it for 2 weeks. After you do it for 2 weeks, you're like, oh, okay, this isn't so bad. And then you'll continue it. A habit will stick, they say, estimated after 21 days. So 3 weeks, do it. I guarantee it's going to stick with you. The next foundation is sleep. I can't tell you how many of my patients come to me and they complain that they can't sleep. Either they're having trouble falling asleep or they fall asleep fine and they wake up like a million times during the night. This is not okay. Like we say you should average about 7 to 9 hours of sleep. That doesn't count staying in bed. Like that's 7 to 9 hours of actual sleep, not just being in your bed. So you can, if you're one of those people that is having trouble falling asleep, I recommend having a good bedtime routine. That is, take that phone away at least 2 hours before. And if you do have to use it or do any computer work, get yourself a pair of blue light glasses or blue blockers so you can block that light, because the light stimulates the pineal gland that it's like time to wake up. It's the whole sleep-wake cycle, and you're blocking that melatonin production that we need for restful sleep. So have a good bedtime routine. Do some journaling, some yoga, take a bath. I like to read before bed. It knocks me out. And if you're still having trouble and you're doing all those things, it likely could be due to a hormone issue. So I recommend going to see your physician and getting your hormones checked to see if something is off that likely is contributing to your poor sleep. I highly suspect it might be a cortisol imbalance, which is your stress hormone. So sleep is so important. We do most of our recovery while we sleep. Our immune system is actually the most active at bedtime and while we're resting. So it's very important for your overall health to be sleeping. Another foundation is nutrition. And this is a big, long process and something that you can't just flip the switch on overnight as far as eating fruits and vegetables. But I teach my patients to pick one thing and one unhealthy habit, whether that's going at 2 o'clock to grab that Diet Coke out of the fridge and saying, okay, I'm going to stop the 2 p.m. Diet Coke habit. Now I'm going to have water instead. So pick one habit and disrupt it. I learned this from one of my trainers at the gym, and it stuck with me, and it's so true, because if we go all in on something, it oftentimes sets us up for failure, because what if we cheat? What if we go backwards? Then we have the shame, remorse, guilt on ourselves, and then we just further set back our healing process. So pick one bad habit and disrupt it. And then after that one's gone, you won't even remember it. Pick another one and disrupt it. So for me, I would always bring my phone to bed. That was like a bad habit for me, and I stopped doing that, and I just put it outside of my door, and now I don't even think about it. It's like habit. I put it outside of my bedroom, and it just stays there until I get up. The other habit that I started doing was with back to water is drinking, or I've set a pint glass out at bedtime and I drink it as soon as I wake up. Like that's been going on for over a year now, and it just sets your body up. It wakes you up, et cetera, and you're getting about 16 to 18 ounces like right upon wakening. So that's another habit, and it took a while for me to do it, but now it's just like second nature. I get ready for bed, I fill up my water bottle, I put my phone away, It's all just routine. So you can do the same thing with nutrition. Also, if you're one of those that is going to the pantry to find something that's unhealthy, ask yourself, why do I need this? What am I going to get out of this Oreo? What am I going to get out of this, whatever the case may be that you're grabbing that you know is not the most nutritious food? Also, you can start by not buying those foods. That's one place you can start, because then if you don't have them in the house, you're not going to eat them. But more importantly, I would pick one habit, one bad one as far as nutrition goes, and replace it. And with the diet too, it's not all of a sudden like going on, some fad diet. It's like changing things that you're already doing. So instead of having like 2 pieces of bread with a sandwich, maybe only have 1 piece of bread and still have the same amount of protein, or perhaps switch your potatoes to like a sweet potato or something like that. There's other things you can do within your diet so that you can still eat the way you're eating, but you just make healthier choices, because we get a lot of our nutrients from food. However, we're not getting as many as we used to years ago because of what we've done to our soil and our crops. So the more we can get from foods, the better, but you likely still will have to supplement and take vitamins, because it kind of really isn't optional nowadays, because just what we've done to our crops and our soil. The next foundation would be stress. So this is a huge one, because stress can be anywhere from your family to your work to your relationship. It could be the outside world. I know 2020 did a doozy on everyone, and I don't think there is one person out there that can say that they were not affected in one way or the other. I know everyone's level of stress is different. However, for me, like, I didn't feel stressed about it, but there came a point where I was like, holy cow, I'm stressed. Like, this is affecting me. I need to scale back, etc. So I guarantee that you were more stressed than you actually thought you were. But it's more about what we do with this stress and how we manage the stress. That's the most important, because if we're just living in this go, 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 super hyped up, stressed, fight or flight all the time, your body is going to wear out, and so are you. And then we have to rebuild you. So why not fix that before it happens? So you can find ways to reduce that stress. And I ask all my moms, what kind of time are you getting for yourself? And they look at me and they say none. And that's really sad. And it's so important that you find time for yourself. And I can't tell you what that is. It could be something as far as, I don't know, dancing, singing, playing an instrument, going for a walk, journaling, painting, playing games, like, whatever it is that's going to light you up. I ask my patients, if you could do something every single day for the rest of your life, what would it be? And then I'm like, okay, we'll find a way to work that into your daily routine to help manage your stress. It's going to take your mind off the day's problems, all of your work struggles, your relationship, etc. Now, if your stress is coming from your job or your relationship, that's likely not going to go away unless you do something about it. So I have hard conversations with patients, and say, hey, have you ever thought about maybe finding another job? Or have you ever thought about perhaps ending this relationship? Because if we continue to have these stresses in our lives, it's just going to slow down our healing process to become our best versions. So those are really like the main foundations of health. The last one would be the gut. And we'll dive into gut health a lot during this podcast. But also, if you're not pooping, like, this is a big deal. And I have conversation daily about bowel movements, and people think I'm nuts, but your bowel movements are essential for your overall health. And we excrete a lot of toxins through our bowel movements. We've got to get things out. And if we're not using our routes of excretion, things just get accumulated in the body and can cause more problems. And also, if we have an overabundance of things and I'm trying to clear things out, if we can't get them out, you're going to feel worse because you're so backed up and constipated, etc. We need healthy bowel movements. So if you're not having a healthy bowel movement at least once per day, 2 would be ideal, 3 is like the best, we've got some work to do. So I can't really get anywhere unless you start pooping. Like, it's as simple as that. So that's pretty much the healthy habits. I do have a healthy habits, healthy lifestyle course on my website that you can purchase if you have no idea where to begin. And this is where I drive People, if they're ready to start taking control of their health, they know that they want to feel better, but they don't know where to start, this is a great place. We go more in depth about these foundations and give you challenges and quick tools that you can instill in your life so that you can develop these healthy habits and get yourself on the right track to being your best version. So if you missed last week's episode, go back and listen to it. It's all about my journey, why I started this podcast, a little bit about me if you know nothing about me. And like always, I appreciate you being here. I am so thankful that you listened to this today. And if you got anything out of this podcast, please leave me a review below. It would mean so much. And you can also screenshot this episode and tag me in it and share it with the world. We'll see you next week.